Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to SOS Radio. Wake up and feed the people.
Good morning and welcome to SOS Radio. Wide awake here on Wednesday morning. It's very cold outside. Today's topic is a continuation of Monday's conversation with Erricka Bridgeford. And of course the title is, What's the Problem? The problem I have this morning is that it's cold. I was just at an Urban League meeting last night, and one of the questions as we were introducing ourselves is, what is your favorite season and why? And I definitely have a conflict. I definitely have a problem with the cold. And so as fall is setting in and the first signs of winter are coming, I'm definitely not a happy camper. I'm a summer person through and through. I don't have that need to change all of the seasons. But today we're going to continue our conversation with Erricka Bridgeford. And so let's say good morning to her before we get into the rest of her interview. Erricka, are you there?
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm here. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm all right. How you feel about this cold weather coming in?
Well, my birthday is October 9th, so I am a fall baby. So I love this time of year. I got all excited seeing the fog in the trees, and like this. It feels good.
Yeah, I think that's what everybody's preference is based on, is where they were born.
When they're born, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, because I was born in August 7th, and I needed to be August 7th weather all year round.
Oh, man. If it was August 7th weather all year round, I would forget my commitment to peace. Somebody would get saved. It's too hot. I can't. Not all year. I mean, but it's good for sundresses. Sundresses are my summertime uniform. So, But no, that's too hot.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't. I hate being sick. And the only time I ever get sick is in the winter.
Well, you need to put more vitamin C in your body. Don't be blaming the weather because you ain't staying healthy.
It's the weather. It's not
it
my.
It is so not the weather. That's your immune system, my dude.
I'm gonna hold a little celebration. You and I can hold a little celebration real quick.
Okay.
Because at the end of the 3 shows last week, I was excited to see that we had over 100 listens total. And this week's goal was to get up over 200 by the end of the week, and we're already past that.
I know that's right.
So I'm going to have a little celebration, even though I'm cold. I think that's a successful thing. And obviously you're a part of it because you've been the only person on the show so far this week. So you're a part of that success.
I love
celebrity. And I also thought it was kind of cool that when I called my mother yesterday, she said, hold on, I was listening to the podcast. I have to press pause.
Oh, that is really, when your mother listening, you big time now. That's serious business.
Especially because, my mother doesn't always enjoy dealing with the computer.
Right, exactly.
So, so we have the second part of the interview that we did together coming up. About 15 more minutes, and then we'll get back into the discussion.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, so you got a lot going on.
Yes.
But we all have a day job. What is yours?
My day job is I'm the director of training at Community Mediation Maryland.
And what does all that mean?
I know it's a lot of words. So mediation, most people think it's like meditation or medication or some shit. We don't do yoga. We're not filling your prescriptions. Anybody having a conflict about anything with anybody, you can sit down and have a meeting, a conversation with that person or people you're in conflict with. And the mediator's job is to be non-judgmental and to run a process that's voluntary and confidential. For people to use the process how they want and maybe problem solve and, come make plans to do things differently. So that's what mediation is. So in Maryland, the community mediation is designed to be a grassroots way of offering mediation services. And so disputes are resolved in the communities that they happen in. So the way that happens is like a community mediation center will partner with libraries, churches, community centers, all different, places who say, I have a room you can use where people can come and have a mediation. And that way people don't have to travel too far outside of where they live. It's going to be free. There are very few centers that have like a sliding scale, and even still then it's like $5 or something stupid, So mediation services are free. And so all throughout Maryland there are 17 community mediation centers, all autonomous, doing their own thing, serving their communities, and they're all nonprofit. So my organization is also a nonprofit, and it serves the entire state. So all 17 of the centers are members of our organization, and as members we give free training and technical assistance and support. So it means in my job.
You guys put anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Yeah.
So my job is to train mediators. We give free mediation training to the center, and the center trains mediators for free. So mediators don't have to pay to become mediators, not financially. They pay with their volunteer time.
Okay.
So they volunteer to mediate cases, and that keeps it free for people who are in conflict. That's why mediation services are free, because the mediators are highly trained volunteers. And then, so at 17 centers, I train the mediators. We also do partnerships with, so let's say if the Baltimore City program wants to partner with child support enforcement because they think they might know about conflict sometimes, So we go, we leave brochures there for people to take, blah, blah, blah. But let's say the people who work at child support enforcement aren't really good at making referrals or whatever. So we will make a partnership with the state level child support enforcement, who will then say to all the child support officers around the state, hey, when you know about conflict, this is the process that you must, you refer it to your local mediation center. It's also really cool projects, like the one I'm most excited about is reentry. So what happens is people who are, people who are incarcerated, when they have about a year to 6 months left, they start going to these different resources, to tell them about resources that are available when they come home. So we are one of those presentations, right? So the Community Mediation Center will go in, and anybody who wants to have a mediation with somebody who is outside before they come home. So, babies' moms, grandmoms who don't want you to see the baby, people who you're going to be living with, people who you dudes you beefing with, people you burn bridges with, all of that kind of stuff. What's going to make your re-entering society? What conversations do you need to have to make re-entering a smoother transition? They can have, and so what happens is if they want a mediation, then the mediation center contacts the people on the outside, and then mediators and the people from the outside go into the prison in a confidential room without any guards in there. They can yell and scream, cuss each other out, have the conflict, run the process, and make plans about whatever it is they need to make plans about. So people make plans about everything from, it is amazing, everything from living arrangements to how they're going to stay clean this time when they come home. And even when people think, oh, I don't have any conflict with anybody, back home. It's going to be all good. I know where I'm going and blah, blah, blah. Expectations are very different, right? So I might think I'm going to come home and it's going to be one way. You think when I get home it's going to be a certain way. When we sit down and have that conversation, we realize we kind of had different ideas about what was going to happen. Or they're just things you don't think about. So I couldn't be saying, oh, I'm going to get a job, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But you don't think about when you come home, getting a job means having clothes to go interview in, bus fare, it's getting cold outside, do you have a coat, what do your shoes look like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have lunch money for the day?
I've been told by some people close to me that it's, in some ways, it's easier to be locked up than to be home when it comes down to living the life.
The logistics of living your everyday life. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And those are things that people get to have realistic, what is it actually going to look like? So they make very detailed plans. And so now, because we've been doing this for about 3 years, we have good data now.
Right.
And it literally shows that people who use mediation while they're in jail before they come home, they are less likely not just to be locked up, but to even be rearrested.
Right.
So it's impacting recidivism already.
Right.
Yeah. So we have, partnerships like that, and it's meant that I've been able to go into prison and do the same mediation training that I do on the outside for people, for inmates, and that has never been done before in the country. So it's just like, I freaking love my job, and I evaluate mediators and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really exciting work, and it's, because it's peace work, I think most people get killed because of misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that I know who've gotten shot or ended up in jail for shooting somebody. Later, if they happen to run into that person in jail,
Right.
and then they talk and they realize, yo, we was both almost dead over some bullshit. There's so many, I think it's often just a lack of communication or people not knowing how to deal with conflict any other way other than reacting in that moment. So I think it saves lives for people just to have a non-judgmental place to sit down and have conversations without somebody telling them who's right and who's wrong. So.
Switch gears a little bit. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh my goodness. In 5 years, I am going to be very unafraid to say anything that I know is true. So right now, there's some things that I know in my gut are true, and it's not that I don't know how to articulate them, but I think I have a fear of articulating them because of how it's going to shape people's beliefs. In 5 years, I'm going to be healed of that, and I'm going to be able to articulate things in a way that's loving enough and true enough that it'll go right past people's fears and beliefs, right into what their own truth.
Okay.
So that's exciting to me.
What's your favorite place you've ever been? Favorite place in the world?
Oh my goodness. Honestly, my favorite place in the world is in my living room with my children. That really is the truth.
It is.
Outside of that, because when summertime is over and my kids go back to school, I'm morbidly sad. Where am I? What are they doing?
Right.
I really miss them badly. They are just, my children are the shit as people, you know. And so I just crazy as all hell, but they don't come any better. But other than that, I love Atlanta. There's something about being able to get grits anywhere. Anytime. And I'm a person who I walk through the street saying hello to everybody, no matter where I am. And in Atlanta, people don't look at you like you're crazy when you do that.
Right.
That southern thing, I really like. But there are places I want to go. You know, I want to do the cliche shit like Africa, and you know, I don't mean to say that Africa is cliche, but you know, if I'm black, of course I want to go to Africa. You know, like I'm supposed to say I want to see the pyramids and shit.
What's your favorite sound?
Favorite sound? Water.
Water.
Yeah.
Why?
Oh my goodness. Hearing it heals everything inside me.
Nice.
Water represents for me the truth about life, physical and spiritual life. So like one time I was speaking at a conference and I had to travel by myself to Chicago, and so I just went and sat. Like there's the fucking beach right in downtown Chicago. So I just went and sat and I watched the waves. And so waves are busy bumping up against each other, and some go higher and we are like that as people. Like it dawned on me, like that's what we do all the time. Like there's the hustle and bustle, the dog eats dog, the survival of the fittest. Some are bigger and shinier, some the sun catches real pretty, you know, and that's how we feel as people. Why everybody else getting a record deal and not me? And why, you know, like just whatever people do. But then all the waves are water. Like they're all exactly the same ingredient, no different, nothing. And so it made me realize that, like, even if I feel like I'm more broken or I'm bigger or I'm smaller or whatever it is in comparison to other people, if I just stop wherever I am and just look within, I'm water. Just like you know, like we're all going to look inside. If I go deep enough into my mind, beyond my fears, I'm going to find your mind and this white dude's mind behind you and that crazy white chick walking past. You know, it's all one essence, you know. And that was so, just that moment of water being able to symbolize that. But then also, I don't think it's a mistake that everything needs water to survive life. You know, like it is that we are made of mostly water, that the earth is mostly covered in water, that there is something, you know, now that dolphins are, this seems random, but it's really related. Like, the fact that dolphins are like washing up on the shore, and some people believe they're committing suicide because the dolphins play a key role in keeping the water balanced with their sonar. And because we are fucking up the water with all the shit we do, the dolphins can't survive in it. And some people believe that they're intelligent enough to refuse to survive in it, and so they just wash up. They just wash up on the shore. Yeah. And so, like, water is very important. You can even program water, you know, like with your thoughts. So, like, I know people who, my children's father tell us to do this, to take us just a brand new spray bottle, put water in it. And it's interesting you asked me about my favorite sound, because he says, like, to talk to the water or play music that you really love to give it a vibration, because water will hold whatever vibration you give it, clearly, because we see we're destroying it and it's spitting shit out. But you can, and then freeze the water and then you can write positive messages on the bottle and send that into the water, and then freeze it and then spray yourself with it every day to, you know, from a spiritual to physical thing for yourself, you know, like, so there's just so much power in water that is like, so it's the sound of water. For me, it like holds all of life and it heals just listening to it. Yeah.
And the last question for this time, because we certainly are going to talk again, is give me 3 words that inspire you.
Surrender. Heal. I just realized I said heal like in 3 different answers. So I'm like, that must be one. Surrender, heal, and words that inspire me. Oh my goodness. I love words, so this is hard. Fuck inspires me. Okay. Because it could be a noun, a about verb and adjective and adverb. Like, it's so fucking versatile, and it can offend, but it can love the shit out of you, fucking. You know what I mean? Like, that's my fucking song. That's my, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it has an excitement and a color and a, you know, that if you are just okay with letting your guard down, fuck can be like the best thing that happened to your day. You know?
Nice. All right, thank you.
All right, so that was the last part of our interview. I definitely enjoyed those last few answers, especially. There's one question I did forget to ask Ericka that I always ask everyone, and that's, what is your favorite food and where can you get it?
Oh my goodness, my favorite. Okay, so I'm a fat girl at heart, and I mean that in the most loving way. And so, you know, my thighs and my ass would agree. Yep, you're a fat girl, you know. So I don't like to pick a food and make food think that I'm discriminating against any of it, you know. So I don't, but, you know, if I had to pick, I'm hoping the rest of the food is not listening. But I love pastas and breads. Anything with garlic in it. So, okay, so if I'm going to be perfectly honest, garlic is probably like my favorite thing. If I put garlic on anything, I think it tastes good.
Well,
so I like to get minced garlic.
Garlic is a superfood. It'll keep you healthy all winter.
Forever. Garlic will heal. Right, it'll keep you healthy all winter. There you go. How about that? You won't be getting sick. I had fibroid tumors, and I learned that certain things feed them. So poultry, dairy, make them bigger and grow. And garlic and onions and foods like that shrink them.
Oh, okay.
So I was excited about that because I love garlic anyway, and I put some form of garlic, whether it's fresh or minced or in a jar or, you know, garlic powder, garlic salt, garlic pepper. So I could get garlic anywhere. I most like to get it from a health food store, you know, where I can get it fresh and cut it up and, you know, just start from scratch and do whatever I want to do to it.
Wow. Speaking of
garlic,
food,
people might not know garlic is one of the easiest things to grow. It's very, very, very tough food. So that joint will come.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that joint will come almost anywhere. I mean, I'm talking about real. So you'll be able to just go out back and be like, yeah, let me get this real quick and pull it up. So serious.
Wow.
And if anybody wants to know anything else about garlic, contact that dude named Spilly.
Oh, yeah, definitely that.
Spilly, right? Because he grows farms right in the middle of the hood, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
He's got a whole farm of garlic and all types of other wonderful things.
Yeah, and the hula hoop thing. I love that about him.
Right. I saw a story this morning about bullying and social media and some of the conflicts that are happening on social media that are affecting our youth. And you know, if you're on social media, you hear all types of things about Facebook gangsters and people saying things on social media that, you know, they wouldn't necessarily say in real life, but it's causing conflict in real life. Have you seen in your mediation work that social media is becoming a source or at least a jumping off point of some of the conflict you're having to deal with?
Well, the thing is that a lot of people don't automatically think to use mediation when they have a conflict.
Right.
So sometimes it'll pop up in the conversation. So it hasn't been like a thing that's the reason it came to mediation. But it definitely has popped up. Oh, you were sending him. Well, first it started with like text messages. So like baby mama drama played out a lot. And, you know, somebody checked somebody's text messages, or somebody was sending nasty, you know, messages back and forth, mean messages to each other. And it'll pop up in a conversation about, you know, and then you posted something on Facebook. If you wanted to say it to me, tag me in it, bitch, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
It's not, you know, because you know how people subliminally say something about you, but they don't really come out and say that it's you. So, like, that kind of stuff gets said, like, you know, tag me if you're talking about me. So, yeah, keyboard gangsters are amazing. It's an amazing phenomenon. I was a huge Black Planet chatter from, like, 2005 to 2007. And like I didn't know that the online world was like a whole world by itself, and there was a whole culture, and people really take it seriously, and you know, and I mean, I guess it makes sense from the standpoint that you are actually interacting with other people, although you're not looking at them, but you're definitely interacting with other people. I've gotten some really good friends off of Black Planet, you know, from chatting, some really close friends that I met in real life, and I hate to say real life because typing is real life too, but that I met in person. And there were people who hated me for no reason, just off of Black Planet. You know, like they rumors would spread that I was dating or seeing somebody that they liked, or, you know, they just didn't. I chatted too much like a man, evidently, and women were supposed to chat a certain way, and I was too much not feminine or something, and then people would meet me in real life and then want to be my friend. So, like, I realized I was, like, they call it chat famous, you know.
Yeah.
People are mean to you in the chat room, but it's really because they kind of, like, look up to you, and so they would meet me in real life and go, oh, my God, Neo. Neo was my chat name. I was Neo Sexy One because, you know, I thought it was like Neo Soul.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, oh, my God, you're so pretty in real life. And, like, you know, I'll be like, ain't you the same bitch who was just, like, all over my font last week? What is going on right now? So it just taught me, like, people definitely will do things behind their keyboard, but it's just like real life. Like, my mother always told me, if somebody keeps running around school saying, oh, she thinks she cute, you know, and trying to make other people dislike you, it's because they think you cute, and they don't know what to do about it. And so, you know, they probably like you or want to be your friend, or it's something about you they admire, but they don't know what to do with their admiration. And so, you know, they lash out.
So let me ask you this. Going back into the interview, and one of the most interesting parts for the second half that we heard, to me, was when you started to talk about the truth, and you started to say about delivering truths to people.
Yeah.
And how difficult it can be, and how much preparation, you know, that it takes sometimes. So talk about that.
I think that a lot of times when people can be real arrogant that they know the quote-unquote truth and other people don't. So, like, they'll get on, speaking of social media, like, they'll get on Facebook and say stuff like, oh, people are so much like sheep, or people will just believe whatever they've been told and raised in, and people just don't realize, or, you know, and so it's like, and the thing that they're saying might be true, but you can't just shock people and wake them up out of their sleep in a way. That's not love. You know, like, awakening is a process. So it's just like if you wake up in the morning, when somebody just flicks the lights on and comes over and shakes you out of your sleep, you're going to have a very different morning than you have if somebody sits on the side of the bed, rubs you, talks to you, hey, baby, it's time to wake up, you know, gives you a chance to rub your eyes and, you know, wake up with a smile. That's different. Truth is the same way. Like, because we are brainwashed into whatever cultural beliefs and religious beliefs and gender roles and, you know, all of the stuff, like, sometimes if you just wake somebody up shockingly in a way that makes them afraid, they're going to resist it. No, I'm not ready to wake up yet. Get out of my face. You know, and so I have to, that's important to me. Like, I know how when I have learned truth on my own, like even how my perceptions about what I think God is, and, you know, those things were scary to me. The first time it dawned on me that there wasn't a physical hell, and I just stopped believing in hell, that was the scariest thing that had ever happened in my life. It shook, because it's a domino effect. If there's no hell, then wait a minute.
Right. And that's real. That's so real. Now, on the other end of that same exact question, there's plenty of times when people are not ready, but they need to hear it. They need the slap in the face. They need that kick in the ass. So talk about that and how you go.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in smacking people and kicking people. I don't believe that that's what truth does. I believe that truth is light, and light does not need to fight darkness. Light shows up and shines darkness away. So I believe that people will happen upon their light in different ways in different places. And so my feeling that I need to make somebody see the truth right now because they need a kick in the ass is my own fear. And let's say even if I'm going to take my brother, for example, that he ended up getting killed, but he struggled with a drug addiction for the last maybe 10 years or so of his life. And so there was a fear that he was going to die. So that's the ultimate fear that we have for people. They're going to get hurt, they're going to die, but it's because of our belief in death, that death is the end of something, that death is the worst thing that can happen. But if you don't believe that death is real, if you believe that you can never cease to be, you can never cease to exist, you don't fear death in the same way. You know that people are going to they are a life form, and they're going to transition in and out of life. Different types of life forms. And death is not the end of anything. Taking a body was the end of you knowing a certain oneness with the universe and taking on a physical form that's going to teach you that you are separate and you're different from everything else you see around you. And a lot of that stuff is not true. So people could look at it like this life is the worst thing that happened to you, but we don't. So me saying you need a swift kick in the ass, that's not love, that's fear. So I believe that, I'm going to speak truth. I'm going to speak truth when I'm led to, when I'm supposed to. I'm going to deliver it in the most loving way I know how to in that moment. And anytime I'm delivering truth and I start getting angry because I don't like the way people are receiving it, or then it means that I had some expectation when I delivered the truth, that it wasn't about me just sharing truth. It was about I'm delivering it because I want you to accept it a certain kind of way, and I'm not in charge of your journey. I don't know all the reasons why you are resistant to it right now and you're not ready for it right now, but you will never die saying you didn't hear it. So maybe there are things that you won't manifest in this life form that you're going to take with you when you transition, and instantly you're going to remember all of those things. I look at death it's just the causes and conditions for that thing to be in that form. Those causes and conditions cease to be. It's not conducive anymore for things to be in that form. That's all that death is. So that makes death okay. So I'm not like, oh, my God, you're going to get killed out there in the street. Yeah, it's bad. I have compassion. Don't get me wrong. I'm devastated, in my physical self. But my brother's death did not end my relationship with him. It ended his life experience in his body. It ended me being able to hug and kiss his face. But it did not end my relationship with him. And as a matter of fact, I think it made it 10 times stronger because I'm aware about things now that he doesn't have a body that I don't think I was in touch with when I was perceiving him just through a body. So I don't believe in beating people with truth.
Right.
That's very. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's interesting because you talk about your brother being murdered, and then I think I also read that you became an activist against the death penalty.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, when you talk about people needing the truth or needing a kick in the ass or whatever you want to call it, for a victim, a family member of a victim, to be an activist against the death penalty, I think that's difficult for people to understand sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, was Chandra going to say something before I reply to that?
Yeah, it's just I think it's very interesting. It's a very complete way to look at what we're talking about here, and it definitely ties in with one of our ongoing undertones is freedom, because freedom is when you as we talked about on the other show, when you have something that you believe in, you grip onto it, and you can live that all the way through authentically with no barriers. And so I really think that your perspective there is touching on something, because if you feel like people don't need a push or as we say, a kick in the ass or that extra motivation, then you can also say that my brother who had this problem, he didn't need our push. He needed to go through and live his experience how it is or how it was, and it needed to go through naturally and end where it ended, and that's
right.
and I'm comfortable with that.
That's freedom.
That's very complete, and that's very free.
That's unconditional love. It's freedom. It's peace. It makes me not grapple with death the same way, and not fight it and fear it. And he knew we loved him. Like, we went out, my father, my mother, and I, and my other brothers, we would be out on the street taking off work. My father would be out 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in the alleys of West Baltimore, up and down Poplar Grove, Bloomingdale, Belmont, North Avenue, looking for him. Like, my father put him in countless rehab programs. It's not that we didn't offer help, but we didn't force him to do anything. We didn't make him, when he was, I saw him at his worst on crack one time. And, like, I looked into his eyes and almost couldn't find him. Like, he called it a monster, like the way crack felt to him, the addiction of it especially. And there was one time I really understood what he meant, because I was looking in his eyes, and I struggled to find him in there. But we made sure that we looked at him even physically the same way when he was using as we did when he was clean. We had the same excitement to see him. Like when people get clean, you're like, oh, hey, oh, my God, you look so good. And you act so excited to see him. We acted the same way when we saw him when he was nodding or we knew he had just used. We acted the same all the time. So what he knew is that he was loved and accepted wherever he was, whether it was in the gutter or whether he was on top of the world. Because he went through those, like he would go from being, a really bad crackhead and, robbing people and doing all types of crazy stuff to then doing street ministry on the corner. Like he was not, just even in his experience, he wasn't just one thing, because none of us are. So we loved him and accepted him no matter where he was. And that's what I know he took with him, because that's forever.
Word.
And
so this thing about the death penalty, it was important to me not to fight the death penalty, because I think that's more violent. So it didn't make sense to me to say, hey, to me being an activist is, again, about showing up and turning on a flashlight. It's not coming in yelling and screaming at senators and telling them why they're wrong. And I think that that's the reason why it was able to be repealed this year. And for a long time after it got repealed, I had a hard time taking some of the responsibility for it, because, I just felt like, people have been working on this issue for a very long time, which is very true. And I just got involved in 2009. My brother was killed in 2007. And somebody was looking for people who were murder victims, family members, and against the death penalty. And so that's how I got involved. But from the beginning, when they sat down with me, I said to them, I think the whole tactic of going in and telling people they're wrong for wanting death, that's not, you're trying to heal something with the same tactic of violence and attack. And if what we're saying is that attack is wrong, we have to be that way in the way that we go through this movement. So my whole message, especially this go-round, was point out that revenge was just darkness, that it feels like power because it has so much intensity. But in the face of actually losing my brother, I knew from the beginning when I wanted that dude killed who killed my brother, when if I was a boy, I know what I would have done. You know, if I had new exit, I know what I would have done in the beginning. And I know how much energy that took up. And when you lose somebody that close, trust me, you need every ounce of your energy for grieving and healing. There were mornings I woke up, like, as soon as my eyes opened, I was literally crying, as if I had been crying all night in my sleep. I just woke up crying some mornings. You need all of your energy to grieve and heal. And revenge feels like it's giving you some power or some control because you feel so helpless. And the truth of the matter is, even if you are able to kill the person who killed your loved one, you still have lost your loved one. There's just more death in the world. And from a social justice perspective, I think that it is very hypocritical for us to teach that violence is power in our society, and for us to create systems that uphold survival of the fittest, and whoever, right now, if there's something we don't like, we go into another country and drop bombs, not healing our own ills. But, so because that's what we do, I don't think it's cool that if I were to go and kill the dude myself, I will go to jail, but the government can kill him. If it's wrong, it's wrong, And so I found that because revenge is really darkness, it was in forgiveness and understanding and knowing that if we killed the dude who killed my brother, it's his family, who was going to go through it. And that gave me a different perspective. When you send somebody to the death chamber, put aside that the whole system is racist. Let's put that aside. When you kill somebody, they just suffer for that moment, or like that. Whatever the walk down to the room is, okay, they're afraid, they shitting bricks, okay, they die. It's over for them. It's their family who probably prayed for them their whole life, meditated on them, wished something different for them their whole life. They are the ones that's going to suffer. And I don't think it's cool for us to just pile dead bodies in the corner, have families suffering all around. But we are doing the things to heal in our society. Why do we teach that violence is power in the first place? So, to me, I think that's what our tax dollars need to be going toward, is healing the things that create a violence is power perspective and not going, it's the government's job to exact revenge. Because if that's the case, don't send me to jail if I would have killed the dude myself.
What about life imprisonment?
I think that in a land where punishment is the way we do things, like, I don't believe that punishment is a great teaching tool. But because we live in a society where that's what we do, then I think life in prison should be the ultimate punishment, because people, as you live, you grow. When you were 16, if you knew that you were going to know the things you knew at 30 and 40 and 50,
exactly.
It would be told, and so, in a moment, to die for something you did in a moment, it just seems like insanity to me. And if you are sick, like if you did something that was considered a heinous crime, there's something wrong with your mind, and you're sick. So send him away somewhere where he needs to get help, and whatever that stuff is. But even if it's just something done in anger or the way people handle conflict, I think life in prison, in a system where we punish people, at least they are still allowed to do something differently. I spend not a whole lot, a nice amount of my work year I spend going into prisons and doing work inside prisons. And I know that lifers are the most peaceful people in jail because the jail is their community. So they are the ones who are the mediators, and they resolve all the conflict, and people bring stuff to them. When the young dudes come in acting crazy, wanting to join gangs, it's the lifers who, sit them down and like, yo, I'm trying to tell you that's not the way you want to go, And so, but even if they were the ones who came in 20 years ago crazy, they're not like that at 40, So I think that even though you're in prison, prison is a place where you find out and you are more than just your mistakes. You are more than just a number. You are more than just people's judgments and perceptions of you. You're more than your guilt. You have to find that out in prison if you stay long enough. And so although you are physically in prison, you can really get free inside of prison. So that's why I personally love going in, because I like to remind them how free they are no matter how much they're behind prison, behind bars. Because I'm inspired when I go in there and see the things that people are doing while the world is shunning them.
The word that keeps popping out to me is that word control. We talk a lot about with freedom comes responsibility, and I think on the flip side of that coin, a lot of times we avoid responsibility by craving control or trying to take control because we feel so out of control all of the time. And that leads to things like people ending up in prison or
right.
ending up in conflict or just being kind of miserable in their life and therefore giving up their freedom. Because when you walk around in misery all the time, really what you're doing is you're giving up your freedom to accept, what's going on in life and your ability to move within it. So I don't know.
And people don't I think one reason it's hard to get free is because we don't realize how much control we have. We think that our thoughts don't really matter, and that our perceptions don't matter. And it dawned on me probably like 2 days ago, maybe yesterday, that it is what it is, but you experience what you make it. So if you think that something is a bad thing, that's what you're going to experience. Even if there's a whole bunch of good in it, you are never going to know what the good is. So things are whole all the time. You can't make life and eternity not be life and eternity. You can't make it not be wholeness. But because we don't realize the power that we are, not even the power that we have, we don't realize the power that we are. And if we did, we would know that my thoughts create whatever I want them to create. And it's not just, because I want it. If I want something good and whole, the whole universe wants it with me because I'm one with the universe. I'm made out of it's the same ingredient. So there's nothing stopping me from having it other than my own doubts and fears, which are also thoughts and energy, that then, the universe agrees with that and says, okay, well, I guess you're not going to get it then, or I guess it's going to be conflicted whether or not you get it. So I think that's why we can't be free, because we don't understand the power that we are. So control is something that we're trying to do, not realizing that all we have to do is just be, and everything else will fall into place.
I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about another thing that you're involved in. I was spending some time listening to a few podcasts of a show called Divas Dish. You're a co-host of, and I know, Changa, you have you been on Divas Dish?
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. And when I say he showed his whole entire ass, it was good. It was the first time we ever had men on the show. And we had him and Munir Bahar. And it was not something that we didn't really know what to expect, but I found out that I must have had expectations when I was shocked, and falling out of my chair every 3 minutes at the stuff that came out of their mouths. It was the best thing we could have done for the show.
So, Changa, you not commenting?
I will say this. I have a rule. There's 2 things that when people ask you for them, you must give them. There's the truth,
right,
and the ass kicking. So,
I think we asked for both. When we had him on, I think we asked for both, and we got it. It was so good.
He delivered.
It was good.
That's what I do. Call me the delivery man.
So talk about the show a little bit, Ericka. Do some promotion.
Okay, so the Divas Dish is 5 women. This stands for Discussing Important Situations Honestly. And so the show is 5 women talking about issues that impact women, that women are involved in, that women cause. And we have a very seriously strong no male bashing policy. Because it was really important to us that we are able to have discussions, even about things that hurt us, without blaming someone. And I think people think that women can't have conversations without bashing them. And we want men to be able to listen and enjoy the show without feeling like shit when it's over. So we talk about everything from, what I call girly, frilly, shallow stuff, like whether or not you should wear eyelashes, and whether you should shave your eyebrows off and then draw them back on. The answer is no to both things, by the way.
Yeah, don't do that. To body image, rape culture is a big thing we like to talk about. Mental health, all kinds of mental health things. And we always start at being the other woman. So we always start at talking about our own experiences with these things. So we have a lot of fun, we do a lot of laughing, and it's like 5 women in a living room just having a conversation. So we heal a lot, and I think people heal a lot with us. We have a lot of aha moments on the show because we're processing our experiences with trying not to blame anybody else for it, So it comes on, before we were on an online radio station every Monday from 7 to 9 p.m., and now we have gotten our own website. We wanted to podcast it because people would miss it and, really be hitting us up because they wanted to catch it. So now we do a podcast. We're going to be, the Divas Dish actually is just going to be expanding to not just a radio show, but also a network for women, like to really support each other and encourage each other and really network and help each other manifest their, visions and dreams. So, the dish is going to be a place where women can come and dip out of. We at first said we didn't want to have any men on the show because there are enough places where men get to shine and that we weren't trying to stop men from shining. But, this was just about women and men could support it. And we have a very nice male fan base, actually, because I think men don't believe we're not going to bash them. So they first listen to be like, let me see what these boys really talking about. And then they like us. And so, but we did this. So once we decided, but there were so many, I think it was because once the 300 Men March happened and all of that violence, and there was this, it was just more publicly, people were just more aware that, wait a minute, men are still here. They haven't disappeared, and there are men who want to do things and are already doing things that we felt that's about women. We can't say that's not about women. So we were like, we need those kind of men on the show who are men who, they understand that there's a wholeness, the male and the masculine and feminine energy, is wholeness. And so we decided to have the Divas and the Dudes episode where we only wanted men who were about protecting women and making sure women weren't the ones carrying all the weight and doing all the work in the community. So that's how we did that. So now the website is the DivasDishOnline.com, and so you can listen to any show. The podcast upload every Monday at 7 p.m. We're moving now to a twice a month, so starting in October, it's going to be twice a month that we're going to be loading up because now we really, all 5 of us are doing things of our own. So there's me doing stuff. I'm doing Ellen she's the producer and creator of the Divas Dish. And Nisa Maureen is A. Marie Enterprises, and right now she just started an event planning company, and she's already on and popping with that. Lakia Nicole is an author. She's already published a book. She's about to publish her second book and start an online magazine. Brooklyn is, she has Berries by Brooklyn. They are the best freaking dessert bar, berries with chocolate and all kinds of crap going on. So, all of us are doing things, and we realized, we didn't want the show to feel like,
it was a burden, but that it should complement everything else we're doing. So that's why we're moving to twice a month. But you can listen to it anytime.
I got a chance to listen to a few, just doing research. I listened to a few podcasts, and I definitely felt like I was getting away with something as a fly on the wall, being able to listen to some of those conversations. I was like, am I supposed to be here? Am I supposed to be able to hear all this? So,
yeah, that's why men like it, because they're like, oh, this is what women say when we're not around. But you don't have to feel like shit when you leave the wall.
But, it's funny because it's not only when we're not around. It's just 9 times out of 10, it's just that we're not listening.
That's a good
We're not listening.
Yeah.
We don't listen. And I know for a fact, and I haven't done anything with the concept yet, but I know for a fact that platonic relationships with women has incredibly changed and augmented my lifestyle, my perspective, everything. Even from being at 17, having some of my best friends were these 3 girls that I wasn't in any type of romantic situation with, and man, they enlightened me to so much game and so much the thought processes of women, which I didn't always use that information to for the best intentions, but just keeping it real. But it really has been an important thing, and we don't teach our children that. We do not teach our children that.
No, we teach that the opposite gender is only for one thing, and you like them, you crush on them, you have sex with them, you partner your life with them, you make babies with them. That's it. And so, which is why I think gay people actually get a very free experience in life in a totally different way than we do, because they can, they're loving everybody just because they love them, and they can. Because I ask some of my lesbian friends sometimes, it's a stupid question, but I'm like, how do you know the difference between, the girls you like and the girls you just want to be friends with? It's the same way you know that with anybody. What the fuck? So it's just this weird, we don't think, and when people know men and women can't be friends, men, if they're trying to be your friend, it's because they're plotting on you. Well, if men tell us that, then of course we don't trust men.
Right.
True.
I can't trust men if they're, we plotting on you, sweetie. Don't think I'm ever trying to be your friend. But yeah, I would be. I need male friends. I don't think. Yeah, I need male friends. They're just my friends.
And so as we wrap up, we know how to find the Divas Dish, but let us know how we find, if people are in need of mediation services, how do we find that?
Okay, so if people are in need of mediation, then you can go to mdmediation.org, and that's our website. You can find so much stuff about reentry mediation, how to become a mediator at your local mediation center, how to get mediation services by contacting your local mediation center. If you need inspirational speaking, you can contact me. My name is spelled Erricka. Nobody ever knows how to spell it. I'm named after a powerful woman, Erricka Huggins, but that's a whole other show. But my father misspelled my name. She only has one R in her name. So I don't have enough hands, but I got extra letters in my name. So there you go. It all balances out.
There you go.
So ErickaBridgeford.com. You can find me on Facebook, Erricka Wonder Voice Bridgeford as well. I don't really do Twitter, but, I've had a Twitter page kind of since the beginning. So my Twitter name is Erricka, Erricka. And sometimes I post there. Like today as we go together, Wednesday, so my Hoop Suite is going to be posted for both my Facebook and my Twitter. And I think that's mostly my stuff.
Explain the Wonder Voice real quick.
Well, me and my girlfriends were reading this book called The Artist's Way. It's like a spiritual guide for artists, spiritual workbook for artists. And at the book group, she said we should all pick a superhero name that represents our gift. and our talent. And I was very aware that I'm blessed with having a voice that can articulate spiritual things. And I noticed that, like, when I would talk in groups, people would be in awe a lot, like, oh, my goodness, I didn't get, like, you know. So I was like, wow, I got a wonder voice. And I love superheroes. I got, you know, all kind of superhero stuff even in my room. So
well, I like being the son of a superhero. I like that story and that connection. I want to thank you for being on SOS Radio and being a part of our early success. And I wish much success to you as you move forward.
Thank you so much for having me. I had fun.
We love you, girl.
See you later.
All right, that was SOS Radio, Wake Up and Feed the People, Erricka Bridgeford. And we'll see you on Friday. Free Friday.
Out.